Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast. Calling all baseball fans, Yankee fans, Red Sox fans, the Tampa Bay Rays. It's the Catbird Seat. Monday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, only on Armchair Quarterbacks Show's YouTube Live. We dive into the American League East, point of views of the fans. Teamus and the Red Sox, Angelo and his New York Yankees, and Florida's own Mac McGee's Tampa Bay Rays. It's the Catbird Seat. Monday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, only on Armchair Quarterbacks Show's YouTube Live. Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We've got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Ariola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation heads to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live. Or catch the instant replay.
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Hi, friend. It's your home speaking, and I need some favors. Could you turn on some of the lights in the basement? I'm scared of the dark. Also, this one is easy. Could you bundle your home and car insurance with Geico so we could save money? Last thing, just a suggestion. Could you steam clean the carpets? I need a spa day.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the
Good morning and welcome to Take Me Out to the Ball Game as we get you caught up in the world of sports in just a few minutes as we get you ready for this morning show at the bottom of the hour. Wake up, y'all. Sean O'Toole will be with me, and we are talking the AFC South. We're going to make our predictions today. We are also going to be talking Wisconsin Badger football. A pretty good team in the Big Ten, and we will be getting into that here in a little bit. But take me out to the ball game. If you haven't checked this out yet, essentially what we try to do is catch the big headlines and get you caught up in the world of sports. So now until the end of the season, we'll be catching you up on the baseball race. Right now, the wild card standings look like this. A's, Yankees, and Red Sox are in a dead-footed tie for the 2 wild card spots, and the Blue Jays and Mariners are 4 games behind them. So once again, Yankees, A's, Red Sox are in a flat-footed tie, and then you get the Blue Jays and Mariners 4 games behind them. So Blue Jays and Mariners got a lot of work to do if they want to get back into that race, because not only are you going to have to catch 2 of those teams, but you're also going to have to outplay the team that's sitting side by side with you. So away we go with that. So there's the AL standings. Now, the National League wild card standings look a little easier to prognosticate, as the Cincinnati Reds, they lost last night, but the Padres lost again. Cincinnati Reds are still just a game and a half behind the Padres, who have a brutal schedule coming up. They're not taking advantage of when they should be winning. So we'll see if they can right that ship. In the divisional standings, Rays are now 5 up on the Yankees, 5 up on the Red Sox. Technically, the Red Sox are below the Yankees because they have played 2 more games, but they are in a tie at 5 games back. So the Yankees have a slightly higher winning percentage. And obviously Tampa is the one leading the division, and so they are 5 up on both. The Yankees swept the Red Sox in a doubleheader last night, which is crucial because they're going to play the 3rd game of that series today. Chris Sale will not pitch until Friday. They're bumping him back. They're trying to ease him in against the Baltimores and Texas of the world. Could that be something that ends up harming them down the stretch? I do believe that once you get past this game against Friday against the Rangers, that the kids' gloves will be off of Chris Sale, but it's weathering the storm to get there. Now they do get the Rangers this weekend, so it's not all doom and gloom if they lose today, but there you have that. We'll get into the pitching matchups here in a second from around the league. Before we do all that, White Sox are still cruising. No need to even bring up I won't bring up the AL or NL Central unless it becomes an issue. So the NL West, you got the Astros 2.5 up on the A's as they have been both playing piss poor baseball the last few days. They're both on a 3-game losing streak, so neither one has gained or lost ground. The Atlanta Braves, they won again last night, and this was huge because Sandy Alcantara, I felt like, pitched a whale of a ball game, an absolute gem. But the Braves bullpen, along with Huascar Ynoa, who pitched a pretty good game. It was his first game back from the broken hand from a little over 2 months ago. And so he goes out and pitches just over 5 innings. They had to come and get him. He couldn't get the quality start, but the bullpen did their job. They did their job, and the Braves won that game 2-0. While that went, as that game ended, while everyone else was sleeping, the Philadelphia Phillies lost in Arizona. It's not what you want to be doing if you're Philadelphia. The Arizona games are the games that you got to get out there and get the W's. I get it. Any given day. What's the old saying? The momentum in baseball is today's starting pitcher, but still, you're the Philadelphia Phillies. You've been playing pretty good baseball. You got to get these W's. You lose. The Mets lost again. The Mets have now lost 5 in a row and 7 of their last 10. The Braves have won 8 of their last 10. So what does that look like this morning? The Atlanta Braves have a 2.5 game lead on Philly, and the Mets are 4.5 back of Atlanta. So there you have the East. And the NL West, they keep winning and they keep winning. The Giants won again last night, beating the Mets. And the Dodgers won again last night, beating the Pirates. So right now, the only 2 teams worth mentioning in the West, because the Padres are now 12 games out of first place. They had been in this race all summer long, and over the last couple of weeks have just fallen off the map. And so now we are looking at Giants 4 up on the Dodgers, and the Padres are out of the division race. By the way, your playoff chances right now, if you're looking in the National League East, and I don't know where they even calculate this, it's pretty stupid, but basically what they do is that they look at your schedule and where you're sitting in the standings, and that's it. But obviously you have to go out there and win the games. But as of right now, the Braves have a 62% chance of making the playoffs, the Phillies a 34% chance, and the Mets, who at one point were 70-something% chance just a couple of weeks ago, they're now 9.9% chance making the playoffs. Brewers a 99% chance of making the playoffs. The Giants, they're looking 100% chance. Now, it's not 100% chance because you still have to win games, but I find that crazy that they've got them 100% chance and the Dodgers 99% chance. They're basically betting on the fact that they're not going to have a collapse, either one of them. And the Padres are now a 45% chance just in front of the Reds. You look at the AL East, Tampa Bay 90, New York 71, and the Boston Red Sox 77%. Why do the Red Sox have a higher percentage? They have an easier schedule down the stretch. And over in the Central, they're giving the White Sox 100% chance. Once again, this how you know this isn't scientific. 100% chance. I mean, what if COVID breaks out in the team? You have to put your minor league players in there, and the lead evaporates. And then the Astros have a 95.2% chance, and the A's a 41% chance. But they're only separated by 2 games, so that's kind of asinine. All right, we'll go ahead and move on from that. In the National Football League yesterday, the Jags released Tim Tebow. That was the big news of the day. Something that kind of flew under the radar, though. Josh Rosen. You remember Josh Rosen? Arizona got traded to the Dolphins. Well, he was with the San Francisco 49ers. He got released yesterday. And A's pitcher, Chris Bassett, was rushed to the hospital last night after a line drive hit him in the head. He was rushed to the hospital. It was a nasty, nasty line drive. He was conscious and aware last night, so it looks like all things will be good, but I would think he's going to go a stint on the IL because that's usually a concussion protocol thing, if nothing else. And he was sitting at a 12-3 record with a 3.06 ERA. So A's fans have got to be worried, and fantasy baseball fans have got to be worried. If you got him on your team, I feel for you. I don't think I have him, but I honestly have to check my roster this morning. I saw that I've had him before, so I'm not 100% sure. But the important thing is that Chris Bassett get okay. To hell with our fantasy baseball teams, right? All right. On this date in history, we'll leave you at this. And this is one of the most iconic pictures in the history of baseball. And if you've never seen it, I will post it later. But Tony Caliglieri, on this date in 1967, he is beamed in the head by a line drive. And the images that came from this were horrifying. He gets hit in the head with a line drive. And by the way, has anyone have this happen to them? You're searching for a picture ever, and it puts what is this horrible crap? Is it Yahoo or something? They change your search engine. Why would do you want to change it back to Google? Why the hell would anyone not want it back on Google? Yahoo and what's the other idiot one? Bing. They're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. But anyways, on this date, I just had to get that out. It drives me absolutely bonkers. On this date in 1967, Tony Canigliaro, excuse me, he always get his name mixed up. But he ends up getting hit in they say the temple, but it crushed his eye socket. And so I read a couple of things on this last night, and it kept saying the temple, but I believe he was hit in the eye, in the face. I went back and looked at it. So it depends on what you go at, but regardless, his eye is just swollen all to hell. The picture that you'll see, it ends up on like Sports Illustrated, everything, right? It takes him 2 years to come back. Now, why is this a big deal? Tony Caligliaro at the time was beamed in the head by Jack Hamilton of the California Angels. Caligliaro is a Boston Red Sox. They're in the middle of a pennant chase. They were in last place the year before. They will go on to win the pennant. Okay, go from 9th place to 1st place. This is right before divisions and playoffs. So you win the pennant, you go to the playoffs, right? And him and his Red Sox go from 9th place all the way up to the top of the division, which just did not happen back then. He gets hit in the eye. In 1965, at 20 years old, Tony had 20 at 20 years old, had 32 home runs. In 1967, Tony C had 20 home runs. Okay. He ends up in early 1967. I think I said that wrong. Excuse me. In 65, he has 32 home runs. In 66, he has 20 home runs. In early 1967, he reaches the 100 mark for home runs. Okay. Earliest anyone had ever gotten to a home run, youngest age at 22 years old. So he is a phenom. People love him. He was from the Boston area. They absolutely adored him. He was an absolute hero. He returns in 1969 and does hit 20 home runs. And in 1970, he hits 36 home runs. So you think all is well. At the end of the 1970 season, Tony C has to retire. He has to retire because of vision problems. Never gets it back. Now, in 1975, he does try to come back. He tries to make a comeback, does not happen. And in 1982, he was supposed to be the new voice of face of the Boston Red Sox in the television booth as they were getting regional coverage. And he has a heart attack that thwarts that effort. And Tony C ends up passing away a few short years later in 1990. And just a sad, tragic story. A guy that, look, when I was a kid growing up, they would always talk about Tony Conigliaro and how good he was and how good he would have been. And it's just a sad story. So this is why people get worried about guys getting hit in the face. This is the reason. This is 2 days now that we've had. I can't remember if this is back to back or if it 2 days in a row where a guy getting hit in the head on this date in history has severely altered the game. You had Conigliaro in 67, and then, of course, the one that we had yesterday where the man died, which was what, 1920, 1921. But that's on this date in history. And you see the stories. The pitcher that threw the ball, by the way, his career was done in a few short years. Now, people think that it was because it got in his head, but he says in an interview, in an article about 20 years after it happened, that he actually torn muscles in his shoulder, and that's what did it. But there you have that. Also on this date, 1956, Elvis, #1 on the pop charts with Hound Dog. And this is also on this date. This is the Royals' 5-4 victory over the Yankees in the infamous Pine Tar game, 1983. We'll see you. We'll get out of here. We'll see you at the bottom of the hour. Have a great morning, y'all. We'll be back in just a flash for Wake Up, y'all.
Take me out to the ball